In this video, we're going to review the Vodafone Smart Ultra 7, which is Vodafone's latest iteration of its Smart Ultra lineup. The design of the smartphone is an all-plastic construction to keep the cost down to £135, but it's not necessarily a cheap feeling plastic, and it certainly doesn't look cheap either. On the front of the device, we of course have the 5.5-inch display, which I will cover in a bit more detail later. Below that, we have the navigation buttons, a capacitive back and multitasking button, but a physical home button, which I think could be a bit more tactile, as sometimes when I press the button, it doesn't actually register the click. Also on the front of the device, we have the front-facing camera, which has a front-facing flash, which I wasn't expecting, and that's quite interesting. And there's also a subtle notification light, which I think is quite nice, and it's not ridiculously obtrusive. The sides of the device are extremely sleek and clean, with the volume rockers and the power on button on the right hand side. These buttons have a tactile texture on them, which helps for grip, but I did occasionally find myself hitting the power button instead of the volume button and vice versa. But now onto the back of the device, and the back has a grippy plastic which features a geometric pattern on it. Here we can see the rear-facing camera and also the two-tone flash, and once you take off the back, since the back cover is actually removable, you can change out your SIM, add extra storage with micro SD cards, to expand the inbuilt 10 gigs of storage, but you cannot change out the battery as it is fixed in place. Onto the display, and the display is a 1080p 5.5-inch display, and it's nice and sharp to look at, and it's also quite vivid and the colours look great, which is nice for a phone in such a low price bracket. But a small issue that I've noticed is that the viewing angles aren't the best, and you can actually see on the video that the colours go a bit off while the screen is looked at from an angle. Now onto the camera, and I have quite a lot to say about the camera first. So it's not amazing for the phone, and I feel like this is part of the phone which has been cut to save costs and keep the device at a cheap price. The front-facing camera is 5 megapixels and it isn't brilliant, and it's not that sharp, and it's actually fairly blurry and distorted around the edges. So if you're going to be taking a lot of selfies, this probably isn't going to be the camera phone for you. The rear-facing camera on the back is 13 megapixels and is a little better, although there is a lot of sharpening going into the images that are being shot, and this can really be noticed when the photos are viewed at 100%, and the photos also look a little desaturated in my opinion. I also think that the camera struggles to capture a lot of detail, and this can be seen in the landscape photos that I've taken and in the sample video. Video is decent, it shoots at 1080p at 30 fps, and like the photos, it also struggles to capture a lot of detail. The overall performance of doing daily tasks on this device is great, app transitions are smooth, and the entire operating system is responsive and does not feel laggy at all. I've had a few app crashes over the course of using the device, but these were mainly from Snapchat. But otherwise it's great. Gaming is also pretty good on the device. Platformers like Leo's Fortune play great, but if you're looking to play more intense titles like Asphalt 8, you're going to find a laggy experience because of the graphical effects. So to summarise that point, the phone is not a graphical workhorse, but for a bit of casual gaming, it's great. I also found the battery life very impressive on this phone, and I can easily get a full day of usage from the device, and there's easily 30 or 40% left, which means that you don't have to worry about charging the phone overnight as much, and if you do forget to charge it, it's not going to be a disaster. This is thanks to the non-removable 2960 mAh battery that powers the device, which is a much bigger battery than some of the larger manufacturers include in their devices. So overall, the Vodafone Smart Ultra 7 is a great budget offering from Vodafone, coming in at £135 for pay-as-you-go and just £16 a month with a contract. And I think it's certainly a great phone considering the price tag. It does have its flaws, but they're certainly not deal breakers. So that's been it for this video. Thanks for Vodafone for sending the phone out for review, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.